Hi folks, Dr. Jim Gishwin here, PhD and career retired intelligence specialist. In fact, former leading chief for Office of Naval Investigations up in D.C., under Reagan. Anyway, folks, we're on the precipice. We're on the precipice. And they're talking about getting rid of the draft? Come on, folks. Of course, in this day and age, I don't know how long World War III would last. Okay? That is a good question. I don't think it'd last long enough for us to sit there and have to draft people, to be honest with you. But we are really on the edge. And I told you before, okay, prior to World War I, World War II, we had all the same situations going on. And all it took was a little bit to sit there and set it off. All these alliances. Alliances will do it. George Washington warned us against foreign alliances and foreign entanglements. Well, we're in them. We have to be in them in this kind of world. 80% of our electronics comes out of Taiwan. If China takes that, guess what? You ain't getting your car fixed. Even if you got a gas one or a electric one, it don't matter. Especially if you got an electric one, all the parts come from China and the batteries come from China. So you better sit there and be careful, nurse what you got. And I am just curious. I am totally curious about why the Secret Service down in Mar-a-Lago, when this guy, this Chinese national, sat there and tried to sit there and approached them 3 times. He ran the barrier 3 times, saying that he had documentation and proof that he wanted to give them that proved that China was behind the assassination attempt. Why? Why didn't the Secret Service take it? All I had to do was sit there and take it from the man. They sit there and said, no, you need to leave. They said it twice. And he's sitting there holding this stuff out, asking them to take it. He wasn't sitting there armed. He didn't have a daggone gun. He wasn't threatening anybody. I kind of wonder about the Secret Service these days. Like we were wondering about the FBI. And that new Secret Service director, he ain't much better than the one that we just got fired or resigned. In fact, a lot of people say he's an anti-Trumper. And that he was the one that sat there and actually denied a lot of the requests from the Trump team. And also denied Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. Of all the ridiculous stuff, of all the horrible things going on in our nation now. And now we got Miss Indian or Black, whichever room she's going into, she's chameleon. Chameleon. Okay? She even tried to do a southern drawl down in Atlanta. She tried to do the y'all. Okay? I don't do it as well either, but anyway. But I've been down here since '85. This is the worst administration in U.S. history. And I'm telling you, if we don't sit there and defeat these people with an election that's too big, with a vote that's too big to rig, this country's gone. All your freedoms are gone. Because she is a communist. Or a Marxist. They're the same. Okay? Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. Come on now. So if you're a Marxist, you're a communist. You know, we're splitting hairs here. Folks, we need prayer. but we need your vote. I say vote off them like Democrats. I mean, God almighty. I mean, some of the stuff that is going on, and she sat there and snubbed and turned off the microphone for our biggest ally in the Middle East when he was here to visit, and didn't even go over the Congress when he was addressing them, which was her job. That was her job. Is that how she's going to treat the world leaders? They say that in her staff, she tells the junior staffers, do not look her in the eye, because that's only for senior staffers. And no wonder 97% of her people have left. Do we need that kind of leader? That's not leadership. I teach leadership, and that is not leadership, folks. This woman has never won an election outside the state of California. She's never gotten a vote for any national election. Okay? She's the puppet. She's the continuation puppet. Obama wants a 4th term now, using her. He's the one, and Jim Clyburn, over in Congress, the most powerful man in Congress, is with head of the Black Caucus, is the one that selected her back in the primaries in 2019 when she had to drop out. And Joe was not doing well either. They picked both people that were shells, that only had ambition and didn't give a crap about anybody besides themselves. And they knew they could control these two people. And they knew Joe was declining back then. And Kamala is complicit with the elder abuse that Jill and Hunter have been doing to Joe Biden. That last speech he gave, you notice he didn't blink? What kind of drugs is he on, man? You kind of wonder. No blinking. Kind of like the hypno frog on one of those cartoon things. The hypno frog, remember him? Folks, we're in dire straits. We need prayers, but we need your vote. Okay, we need your vote. We are going to be a communist country if we do not vote. That is it. I teach history. I can see it happening. I've seen communist takeovers in other countries as an intelligence person, and it's going along the same lines. And they will lie to you. They will sit there and continue to lie. I told my students last year, don't believe a daggone thing the government tells you. And I've worked for the government. So I was a cubicle ranger up there. Yeah. I've been up there. I was born there. Grew up in Southwest D.C. So I am telling you right now, okay? We need your votes. It has to be too big to rig, because you know they're going to pull some funny business. It's not funny, though. They are desperate. They're so desperate they put this loser on their ticket. And it's not going to make any difference what kind of... They don't have a bench. So it doesn't matter who she picks as vice presidential candidate. And they're calling our vice presidential candidate, Vance, weird. Well, she's queen of weird. And her granddaddy owned 200 slaves. And we know that because the British government had to write all their names down when they bought them, paid him for them. Okay? When Britain was emancipating the slaves in the Caribbean, which happened later than what they did in England. Quite a bit later. I mean, we're talking about her granddaddy, Mr. Brown, owned 200 slaves, and we have the names. You can Google the names of them. Well, you used to be able to Google the names of them. Google is making it very hard. Okay? Very hard for you to Google them. Okay? But the names used to be on the internet. Okay? Dinesh D'Souza published them and got in all sorts of trouble for publishing the 200 names. Right? That is her history. That is it. Okay? And she's not African American. I teach my kids, I show them the map up there. I said, there's black people here, here, all the way around the world. Okay? Not just black Africans. So, she's a black or brown Jamaican. All right? And Indian. Of course, she chooses what she wants to be wherever she wants to go into things. Kind of like Joe Biden. Remember him? Oh, I was raised in a black church. Oh, I was raised but in a Puerto Rican community. I was raised in... she must have learned it from Joe. Okay? Because this stuff is going on. I'm surprised she don't sit there and pull a bottle of Tabasco sauce out like Hillary Clinton did, pandering to the black vote. And of course, when she had her little rally, the minute she started to speak after the entertainment was over, everyone started getting out of their seats and started walking out. And like Trump said, he doesn't need entertainers to sit there and draw people in. And the good thing about Trump, you know, people say he rambles. Well, no. His opening and closing speeches are basically memorized, okay? It's the same thing each time, opening and closing. You know, we will make America strong. We will make America rich. We will make, you know, all that stuff. But in the middle, he just talks to people like they're in his living room. You know, kind of like Roosevelt's fireside chats, except he sits there and interfaces with them. He calls people up. Like he called that one woman up, for goodness sakes, who almost took over the whole program. That was kind of funny. She was great. Anyway, folks, we need your vote. Vote, 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 vote. Democracy, and I'm ashamed to use that word because there is no democracies in this world. Democracy is mob rule. Athens learned their lesson and failed because of it. Okay? It's mob rule. Okay? Our founding fathers were afraid of it. Look what happened in the French Revolution. Okay? That was mob rule. That was democracy. Okay? We are a constitutional representative republic. And like Ben Franklin said when they came out of the convention, what kind of government do we have, sir? He replied, a republic if you can keep it. Folks, I want to keep it. And the good Lord gave it to us, so let's all keep it. And let's keep it in our hearts, and let's keep the prayers coming. And your vote. Take care.